As many of you know, we have been stationary for the last year, and we are just now getting ready to hit the road again, and we are super excited. We've taken a couple of small trips, the last one being spring break a couple of weeks ago, but we are getting ready to really hit the road and see all the sights, do all the things. So the last couple of weeks we have really been getting ready to hit the road, get the rig packed up, get sorted, get purged, everything. Starting off with something easy though. Since Jeremy doesn't really do anything while I'm away at work, he just pretty much plays with Wicket and drinks and takes naps, right? Anyway, he decided to start off our trip prep by cleaning our pit boss. It hadn't been cleaned in almost a year, which, as many of you know, could be a fire hazard, so I'd prefer not to have burnt food. I'd like it lightly smoked, so he got that cleaned, and it was kind of a mess.
I didn't clean it last fall when I put it away, so it's pretty gross, and it's time for another cleaning, I think, before this thing catches on fire. So let's see what this looks like. It's been soaking for a couple of days in soapy water, and it's pretty nasty, but it's coming off pretty good, so we're gonna get it cleaned up. Well, she's not ever gonna look brand new again, but I think it's not too bad. I think we've had this thing for about 2.5 years now, and so she's still looking pretty good. Now I gotta find a good place to go dump this bucket of nasty water out, probably just down the hill over here.
So that was a pretty easy one, and I pretty much went straight from that into getting the attic cleared out here. So when we got the new rig, we had to get everything out of the old rig, and so the best place to put all that stuff was in the attic here at my dad's place. So I had to get all of that stuff out of there and just kind of toss it in this rig so that we can figure out what to do with it later. We just wanted to get everything in one spot before we started organizing.
All right, so I figured it's a really nice day today. Might as well continue on with kind of this spring, I wouldn't really call it spring cleaning, but it is springtime, and we are getting on the road here full time again in about 5 weeks. So we've got some things to put together. We've been stationary for a long time, so we've got to figure out how to get all the stuff that we took out of the rig while we were living here over the winter, get it moved from the attic back into the rig, and kind of figure out how everything's going to be stowed, because as you guys know, we have a new RV, so getting everything put away where it's supposed to go, haven't really figured that out yet, and today's a nice day. So I thought I'd take complete advantage of that, and we'll get all this stuff out of the attic today. So I was just thinking there could be a lot of things I'd rather be doing today. For example, could be out playing golf instead of hauling all this stuff out of this attic. The attic is hot, hot, hot right now, and I'm starting to work up a little bit of a sweat. But then I think about Candace is at work dealing with a bunch of kids, and I suddenly got this newfound motivation to do this. This is just fine with me today. Don't get me wrong, I like kids. I especially like my own kids, of course. But kids are a little bit like cats in my mind. Like I said before, I like them well enough, just not well enough to be around them all day long, especially when they're not even mine. Now, Candace and I do really look forward to the day when we have grandkids. But again, those aren't our kids. We just get to do all the fun stuff with them and then send them home to mom and dad. And I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most. You know, sending a couple of hyped up kids back to their parents. Yeah, that's a little bit of payback I think I can handle.
Jeremy left me quite a mess in the back, I guess, storage area. And so I had quite a bit of work. Not just him, but there was quite a bit of stuff that I just really needed to sort through. Mainly his stuff, not mine.
whatever.
And so we got that all sorted. We got rid of some stuff. We decided to put some stuff in storage, and he helped me kind of Tetris it all in there to make sure that we could access the things that we need most frequently.
Yeah, which is really the whole goal of all of this, was to just be more organized.
Yes.
Not necessarily bring on some more stuff just because we have more storage. It was really just to get organized. So while she was working on that, I was working on the pass-through up front.
Yep.
And let me just tell you, it was all a disaster.
All right, as part of our spring cleaning and getting ready to get back underway, we're doing some kind of some finishing touches here on organization, getting rid of stuff. And it's I don't know, it's a little stressful. We've gotten more stuff than I thought we had, so we're gonna have to really decide what we want to keep and get rid of.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a pretty good purge.
Her stuff, mostly.
His stuff.
No. So anyway, that's what we're doing. We've got T-minus
3 weeks?
3 weeks until we're underway again full time. And because it's been so long, that we've been on the road full time, and it's a new rig.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard to organize and get everything just trimmed down to what we need and what we can't live without. Golf clubs. I gotta have my golf clubs this time.
When was the last time you played?
I haven't had my golf clubs.
But would you have played if you had them? Who were you gonna play with?
I don't know, but because I didn't have them.
So we'll take them for a little bit.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't use them by the end of this summer, they're going in storage.
Yeah, we'll see. Fire extinguishers are super important, right? I know that right now we still don't have enough. We've only got 2. We've got one right inside the front door, and then we've got this one that I'm gonna put in the storage here, the pass-through, because that's where I've got all of my EcoFlows, all those lithium batteries, the inverters and stuff down there. So I'm gonna keep this one down there for that.
All right, the next item on my list was to get our new AC soft starter installed. So we just bought one for now, and we've got it on the main unit here in the living room because that's what's got the AC and the heat pump on it. So we wanted to be able to run both of those if we need them. So I didn't really want this part to turn into a product, placement video or anything like that. That's not the purpose of this. What I really wanted to show you guys was how easy these things are to install. So we had 2 of them on our last rig, and they were both pretty easy to get installed. This one, they've made some upgrades to what they send you. They actually give you the connections on all the wires that you need for the most part. So they just made it really, really easy to get these things installed as kind of a do-it-yourself kind of thing. And I can't imagine living in this rig without one of these, because at least for us, we have the capability to run these things when we're not connected to shore power. So we may be on our EcoFlow inverters, or we may be on the generator, and the only way to be able to do that is with these AC soft starters. So again, I just can't imagine living in one of these things full time without having one of those.
The first thing we want to do is just simply identify some basic components. So the first component is the compressor itself. The second component is the run capacitor. And then the third component, if you have it, is the freeze switch. Once you've got those basic components identified, the first step of this installation is just going to be to simply run the cable from the EasyStart unit to the inside of the electrical control box. The next step here was to just find the white wire that comes from the compressor. It runs into the control box and connects into the run capacitor. And what I did here was just remove that white wire from that run capacitor. I cut the connector off of the end of it, and then I spliced that white wire into the brown wire that comes from the Micro-Air EasyStart unit. And
And then I just took the white wire from the EasyStart unit that already had a connector on it, and I just connected it right back to where the white wire connected from the compressor. Next was to take the orange wire from the EasyStart unit, which again already had a connector on it, and then connect it to the red group of wires on the run capacitor. Next, you're going to find the black wire coming from the compressor, and that could be going to one of several different locations. And the instruction manual does a really good job of telling you what to do with that wire based on where it's going. You may have a freeze sensor board inside of that electric control box. And in this case, what you need to do is splice the black wire from the EasyStart system into the black wire from the compressor. So basically what that means is you'll just need to cut somewhere along that black wire from the compressor, strip those wires back, and then splice the black wire from the EasyStart system into that black wire from the compressor that you just cut and stripped back. So basically you'll have 3 black wires all joined together. Now that's it as far as the actual electrical installation. It really is very simple. The instructions go on to talk about removing any existing start components. So your system may have some of these components, and what you're looking for is a start capacitor or a hard start kit or a PTCR, which is a positive temperature coefficient resistor. And if you have any of these things, they basically just need to be disconnected, and your instruction manual walks you through that, and it provides very detailed pictures on how to do that. And then the last thing that you need to do is just simply mount that EasyStart system somewhere in your air conditioning unit. On our last rig on the Dometic units, I was able to put it on one of these vertical walls. I didn't have enough space in this Coleman Mach unit, so I just put this thing right up underneath of the fan motor, and it sits there pretty securely.
Now, I didn't mention it before, but the brand of soft starter that we went with is the Micro-Air EasyStart. It's a little bit on the expensive side when you're looking at all of the soft starters out there, but it seems to be the #1 brand. It's what we had in the last rig, and I just never had any issues with it, and it's super easy to install. Now, as a bonus, I have also included some data here on these Coleman Mach AC units to show you exactly how much current these things draw with the soft starters installed. Now, I did get data captured before I installed the soft start unit. I didn't get it on video, but I at least got the data written down. And so before the soft start was installed, this Coleman Mach AC unit drew about 55 amps when it started up during that starting surge, before that current came down to its just normal running current. So this first clip here, all we're looking at is just the fan startup. And this is important to keep in mind because we have to take into account what the fan is drawing when we look at what the total current goes to on the startup of the compressor here in just a minute. So in this video here, what we're seeing is when the fan starts up, it goes up to about 6.2, 6.3 amps, and then it comes back down to about, I think, 4.2, 4.5 amps, something like that. So what that means is we got to keep that in mind when we're looking at the full startup cycle, because we got to keep in mind that that 4 amps or so of motor current, we need to subtract that from what we see on the meter when that compressor starts up. All right, so this next clip is the entire startup sequence. And I've got my multimeter here set to capture the highest number that it sees. And so what we're seeing here is when that fan kicks on, it goes up to about 6.2 or 6.3 amps. And then when the compressor starts up, it's gonna go up to about 15.5 amps. So now what we have to do is we have to take that fan motor running current, which was like the 4.2, 4.5 amps, whatever that was, and we have to subtract that from that 15.5 amps of starting surge that we saw. And what that gives us is really only about 10 or 11 amps of starting surge on this unit. Whereas before, like I said, that meter read about 55 amps when it started up, which really meant it was gonna be about 50 to 51 amps of starting surge when the compressor kicked on from that unit. So you can see here, we've gone from about 50 amps of startup surge to about 10 amps of startup surge, and that's well within the capacity of most generators out there. So you can easily start up and run one air conditioner, probably even two on most portable generators. All right, so again, I didn't mean for that to be a sales pitch for the Micro-Air system. There are a lot of different systems out there. That's just the one that I use. The reason I bring this whole topic up in this video is just because I had to do the installation. We were gonna put one on. I figured I'd record it, show you guys just how easy these things are to install, because we really do believe that this is a must-have if you're gonna do really any kind of boondocking out there, or if you're ever gonna be, you know, connected to a limited source of power and you want to be able to run an air conditioner. Now, as a side note here, I made a video previously that was much more in-depth on how I captured all the data and all the numbers that I got from those Dometic AC units. So if you want to check out that video, I'll go ahead and put the link in the description of this one. Okay, last but not least in this week's video is I just recently did a fuel filter change out in my truck, and I wanted to get this one out here because I just wanted to show you guys really, again, how easy this is to do, and it can really save you quite a bit of money. So I won't give away the details now. Let's just roll that video. All right, I called one of the local Chevy dealers just to see how much they wanted to change my fuel filter. I've done it before. It's not really hard, but I also 100% despise working on vehicles. So I just called the dealership to see what they wanted for it if I brought the filter in, because I've already got the filter. They wanted $140 to change this fuel filter. Now, I know how long this is gonna take me. It's probably not gonna take me any more than about 15 minutes. Those guys, I'm sure, can even do it faster, and they don't even have to get down on the ground. They just put it up on the lift. So I'm not paying $140 for that. We're gonna do it ourselves today. I just wanna kind of show how easy this is. So I've got a 2021 Silverado 3500, so it's got the Duramax diesel in it, and I just wanted to show how easy this is so that, you know, some of you guys out there, I'm sure, can do this on your own. Really, anybody can do this on their own. Save yourself $100, $150, whatever it may be. But we're just gonna get this changed out here. It shouldn't take but just a few minutes. All right, so this fuel filter is gonna be, I don't know, maybe 18 inches in from the side of the truck here, right about where that cardboard box is. And so it's pretty easy to access, you know, especially because these trucks sit up pretty high. So that's where it's at, and I'm just gonna crawl under there and we're gonna get started. And the only tools we really need here are, I've got a little breaker bar there with a 36mm socket on it, and then the filter itself. It's gonna come with a filter, and it's got a couple of O-rings in there. I've got some shop towels and some nitrile gloves. And then of course you need something to catch the gas when it comes out of the old filter, so you'll need one of these little drain pans. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're just gonna loosen this thing up. And obviously when we loosen this up, some of that diesel fuel is going to come out. So just be ready with your pan underneath. There we go. There we go. We got the fuel coming out, and I'm just going to kind of let that drip until it's not dripping anymore. So now that that's off, there's a little blue O-ring right up in here. Not sure if that's visible on the camera, but this little blue O-ring needs to also come off. If you just kind of give it a little pinch, you should be able to pinch it to get some slack in it, and then just kind of roll it right off at the tip of this. There we go, just like that. So just don't forget to put that back on when you put the new filter on. So, all right, so let's pull this filter out, take a look at it, and see how dirty it is. All right, so I don't know what these things really should look like when you change them out, how dirty or clean they should be. This one's pretty much black compared to the white, but all we're gonna do here is we're just gonna take this filter out. We're gonna clean out the inside of the housing of this cap. We're gonna pop the new filter in with its new O-ring. We've got an O-ring right here, and then we've got that small blue O-ring that goes up on the filter assembly under the truck. So that's really all there is to this, guys. $140 to do this? I don't think so.
I'm trying to do this one-handed here because I was operating the camera. I had to take my glove off. Pop this right off. Maybe. There we go. So it's really hard to tell. This thing's black on the inside, whether there's really much dirt in there, but I am gonna wipe it out just to get any excess dirt that might be in there. There we go. I actually don't think that's too bad. All right, so we got the new O-ring here. We're just gonna pop this on. Just roll that right back down into this recessed area down here at the bottom. And this new filter, it's only gonna go in one way. If you try and put it in backwards like this, see, it's not gonna seat on anything. So the blue O-ring is gonna go down. That's gonna seal around the inside of the filter housing. And you just push this thing down and you'll hear it pop, just like that. And the new filter is in. So all we have left now is to get this new small O-ring back on and then pop the whole canister back on, tighten it down, then we'll get in, start the truck up. It'll have to prime itself, and then we'll reset the fuel filter gauge, if you will, on the instrument cluster. So let's get that done. Okay, so again, we just want to get this tiny little O-ring back on here, and we want to make sure that we don't tear it. So it just needs to go on nice and gentle. There we go, just like that. Then we just need to screw the filter housing back on there. Get it nice and tight. Not too tight though. Like I said, this is a plastic housing, so we don't want to gronk down on it too much. We should be able to see, so I don't know if you could pick it up in the camera. We should be able to basically just seal this up so that we can no longer see that blue filter in there. So that's really all I'm going to try and do. There we go. That's it. That's all there is to it, guys. 140 bucks. Like I said, all we got left is to just start the truck up. And again, it's probably gonna take a few seconds. It's probably gonna sound like it's struggling as it primes the system, but it should start right up. And then what we'll do is we'll reset that fuel filter gauge or meter, and then we'll have to shut the truck down, start it back up, and then that's when it will actually, or it should, then read 100% on the fuel filter again. There we go. So yeah, it struggled just a little bit. I don't know what that was. It felt like forever, but I think it was probably about 7 or 8 seconds. We're gonna dismiss all of these. All right, now if we navigate down to the fuel filter life, 11%, we're going to just reset that. Yes, we want to reset. Okay, still reads 11%, but now we'll shut the truck down. And then we'll start it back up. And there we go, 100%. So there you go. If you want to save yourself a few bucks on a simple job like this, at least for this year, this model, and I think it's the same for the 2020 and up on these Duramax diesel engines. That's a pretty easy process to go through. I think it probably took me 20 minutes, but I was farting around with the camera, so that added a little bit of time. So to pay those guys like 140 bucks, and maybe even more than that, just to replace that fuel filter, to me that's insane, especially when really anybody can do that. So if you want to save a few bucks, just buy your own filter. I think I paid 35 bucks for this filter. It's a K&N filter, just got it right off of Amazon, had it delivered next day, and boom, it's done. I did the whole thing for 35 bucks. And I assume if you have a Ford or a Ram, whatever, these things are probably very similar on those trucks as well. So, you know, just before you spend the money on that, just look into it, see how difficult it's gonna be, because a lot of these just routine maintenance items, not only on the truck, but even on the rig too, a lot of that stuff can be done on your own, and you're just gonna save a ton of money by doing it. All right, now I gotta go clean up my mess and figure out what I'm gonna do with that diesel fuel that came out of the original filter. All right, we'll see you later.
So we now have 2 weeks till go time, and we think we are pretty much fully packed. We still have some inside stuff to do, just getting things stowed away for hitting the road full time, but we are excited and ready to go. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell button. And as always, happy camping and stay safe out there.